If I told you a young woman vanished in less than 7 minutes, you'd think it's impossible. No footprints leading into the woods, no witnesses, no phone calls, no credit card activity, nothing. Just a crashed car on a silent winter road, and a disappearance that has tormented investigators for nearly 2 decades. Her name was Maura Murray. On February 9, 2004, a 21-year-old nursing student left her university, drove into the mountains of New Hampshire, and then, without warning, disappeared. Not days later, not hours later, but minutes later. The more you learn about this case, the stranger it becomes. Tonight, we're going to walk through every moment of that day. The secret phone call, the sudden trip, the crash that makes no sense, and the missing 7 minutes that still haunt America. Maura was young, smart, disciplined, a standout student-athlete from Massachusetts. But beneath her calm surface, she carried emotional struggles she rarely shared. A year before she vanished, she left West Point after disciplinary issues. She transferred to the University of Massachusetts Amherst to study nursing. 2 nights before she disappeared, Maura was working her campus job. She received a phone call. Her supervisor said Maura froze, stared blankly, and whispered, "My sister." But later, her sister said she never made that call. No one knows what Maura heard, or why it affected her so deeply. On the day she disappeared, she emailed her professors saying she would be gone for a week because of a family emergency. There was no emergency. She packed clothes, took important items, and printed multiple sets of driving directions, not to one single place, but to different locations in Vermont and New Hampshire. At nearly 3 p.m., she withdrew $280 from an ATM. She bought alcohol from a nearby store. The CCTV footage shows her calm, almost too calm. No panic, no rush. She left campus and began driving north, and for the next 4 hours, no one knows where she went. No calls, no receipts, no confirmed sightings. Around 7:07 p.m., a local woman in Haverhill, New Hampshire, heard a loud thud. She looked outside and saw a black Saturn sedan stuck in a snowbank on a rural road. It was Maura's car. Moments later, a school bus driver passing by stopped and offered help. He saw Maura standing outside the car. She didn't seem injured, but she looked shaken. He offered to call the police. She refused. She said she already called AAA, but she didn't. There was no cell service in that area in 2004. The bus driver went home and called police anyway. When officers arrived just minutes later, Maura was gone. No footprints in the snow, no signs of a struggle, no tire tracks suggesting another car picked her up. The scene was silent and empty. Inside Maura's car, officers found several strange details. The airbags were deployed. The windshield was cracked. The damage was more severe than a slow slide on ice would cause. Her belongings were neatly packed inside: clothes, textbooks, and personal items. But her phone, debit cards, and ID were missing. One detail confused investigators even more: printed MapQuest directions. And these directions weren't pointing to one location, they pointed to several potential destinations. Where was she going? Why so many options? Why the secrecy? Within hours, search teams arrived. Local police, state police, volunteers, K-9 units. Helicopters scanned the area with heat detection. Hundreds of people covered the ground that night and in the days that followed. Dogs picked up Maura's scent, but only for about 100 yards. Her scent stopped in the middle of the road. That usually means one thing: she got into another vehicle. But who was driving it? A stranger? Someone she knew? Or someone who simply happened to pass by? No signs of a struggle. No screams heard. No footprints leading into the woods. It was as if Maura vanished into thin air. Some people believe Maura left voluntarily, that she was overwhelmed by school, relationships, and personal challenges. But if she planned to run away, why leave behind so many important items? And why never use her phone, money, or cards again? Others believe she met with foul play. Someone driving along that rural road may have seen her crashed car and taken advantage of the situation. This theory explains the sudden disappearance and the scent stopping in the road. But in 20 years, no evidence has connected any suspect to her case. Another theory suggests she succumbed to the freezing temperatures after leaving the scene. But after decades of searching, in forests, rivers, abandoned buildings, and snow-covered trails, not a single trace was found. The more investigators searched, the fewer answers they found. As the years passed, new tips surfaced. Some claimed to see a young woman resembling Maura in nearby towns. None were confirmed. Some said they heard rumors of a hit-and-run, followed by a cover-up. None of those claims were ever proven. Internet investigators, armchair detectives, and true crime communities dug deeper. They analyzed phone records, timelines, and witness statements. They uncovered small inconsistencies, but nothing that conclusively revealed what happened. Maura's family continued to search for her. They posted flyers, they organized searches, they met with detectives, they kept her name alive. They refused to believe she simply vanished without reason. Yet every lead, every clue, every tip ended the same way, with no answers. Over the years, many questions emerged. Why did she print so many directions? Why did she lie about a family emergency? Why did she bring alcohol with her? Why did she refuse help from the bus driver? And what happened in those missing 7 minutes? Some believe Maura planned to meet someone. Others think she panicked after the crash and ran. Some think she accepted a ride from a stranger. A few believe foul play occurred very quickly, before anyone knew she was missing. Despite all theories, one fact remains. No one has ever found a trace of Maura after 7:07 p.m. on February 9th. Nearly 2 decades later, the disappearance of Maura Murray remains one of America's most chilling mysteries. No confirmed sightings, no digital activity, no remains. Nothing that definitively answers the question of what happened that winter night. Investigators still consider the case open. Maura's family continues to fight for truth. And the world continues to wonder how someone could vanish so completely in such a short amount of time. A crash on a dark road, a 7-minute window, and a life that disappeared without a trace. If you have any information about the disappearance of Maura Murray, please contact the New Hampshire State Police. And if you want more real mysteries, unexplained vanishings, and true crime stories, subscribe to Dark Files TV. Some stories don't fade, some questions don't quiet down, and some mysteries stay awake, waiting for answers. This is Dark Files TV. Thank you for watching.